If you're like me and you're frustrated with the state of the country right now, hi, welcome. You're not alone. A lot of us feel frustrated, angry, scared, sad, and for me, overwhelmingly helpless. Like there's not a whole lot I can do. I did what I could. I voted and I stand up for what I believe in, but it just feels like recently that's not enough. There's a lot of little things all of us can do to show our support for certain causes and to express our frustration and our anger. So even though we do, if you're like me, you do feel like helpless, like there's nothing I can do. There is. For example, me and millions of others are currently boycotting Target. If you haven't heard, I'm sure everyone's heard by now, Target recently rolled back its DEI initiatives. DEI stands for diversity, equality, and inclusion. I don't know why anyone would ever see that as a bad thing, but yet all these companies are rolling it back because of our president. I don't agree with that. I think that's stupid. So if you know me, or if you're like me, I shop at Target 2 to 3 times a week. Like I get everything from Target. I stopped shopping there. And to be honest, it hasn't been that hard. And I'm saving a lot of money in the process. So there's stuff like that. You can boycott companies that are doing things you don't agree with. You can cut off a Tesla in traffic. Don't do that. Drive safe. Although I did do that the other day. Don't get in a road rage incident, but you know. Another thing you can do is support your local library. It is a very important time to support your local library. And I'm very guilty of this. When I want to read a book, I want to read it right now. And typically I'll go buy it. We don't always have to buy books, right? I'm trying to roll back on my consumerism a little bit. That was a really, really good time to support your local library and read a whole bunch of banned books, which is what I am doing. I've already read a ton of banned books, and this is a list of books I have read that have been banned or censored somewhere in the country or the world. Let's see, The Handmaid's Tale, Animal Farm, 1984, Brave New World, To Kill a Mockingbird, The Giver, The Hunger Games, Of Mice and Men, The Bluest Eye, Lord of the Flies, The Kite Runner, The Glass Castle, Twilight, Harry Potter, The Jungle, Looking for Alaska, The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, The Great Gatsby, The Da Vinci Code, 13 Reasons Why, Felix Ever After, Water for Elephants, and I'm sure a bunch more. That's just a list of the books that I have read personally. There's a ton of books on that list that I have not read. And that is why I am choosing now to support my local library and read some banned books that I haven't read yet. And the book we're going to be talking about today that I just finished, and spoiler alert, loved, is The Poet X by Elixabeth Acevedo. Why was this book banned? Really quick, the only thing I could find on Google, I didn't do a huge deep dive on why this book was banned, but the only articles I found on Google as to why this specific book is banned is because basically a couple, who I'm assuming is white, because their names are John and Robin Coble, in North Carolina, claimed that this book is anti-Christian. And we'll get into why they would think that. And they challenged this in one specific school district in one state, Lake Norman Charter School in North Carolina. Ultimately, the book was not removed, but the Coble family is filing appeals still years later to try to get this book removed from the curriculum of that school in North Carolina. So in my research, I learned there's a difference between like a banned book and a censored book. So a censored book is a book that is being argued like this should not be in schools, kids should not be reading this. A banned book is a book that has actively been taken out of school libraries. So technically this book has not been banned, but it did show up on like every list. I Googled like banned books to read, good banned books to read, and this showed up on like every list. So it actually has not been banned in any schools that I'm aware of. A little bit about this book. It was published in 2018. It currently, my cats are fighting. It currently has a 4.38 on Goodreads, which is very high. And one of my new favorite formats, if we're being honest, it's written in prose. Guys, we're fostering a kitty right now, and she really is not a fan of my cat, and he is trying to win her over so bad. He's obsessed with her. Here, come here. He wants her to like him so bad, and it's just not happening. She's nervous. You're coming out a little strong. I think it's freaking her out. Okay, what is this book about? The protagonist's name is Xiomara, and she is growing up in Harlem, New York, and she has a twin brother, and they are being raised by their super, super strict, super Catholic mother. And the reason this book was seen as anti-Christian is because Xiomara is, I think she's 15 and in 10th grade, and she is going through the process of confirmation, like a lot of us Catholics do at that age, and she is kind of questioning her faith, and that was not okay to the Coble family in North Carolina. They viewed that as anti-Christian. And for good reason, the school district was like, no, we're not gonna remove a book because of that. Like a lot of kids, teenagers especially, kind of go through like a questioning period of, is this truly what I believe? Is this truly how I identify? Guys, stop. I identified with this book very strongly because I was also raised Catholic. I was also put through confirmation classes. I was also kind of dragged to church every single weekend, kind of against my will. Now, Xiomara's mother in this book is somewhat abusive. I won't really get into that a whole lot, but she is aggressive in her Catholicism. And my mom is great. I love my mom. She's a super, super duper mom. Mom, if you're watching, I love you. But yeah, I've had this conversation with her, and it's like, you forced me to go to church. I wasn't there because I wanted to be, you know? And I considered myself very religious for a really long time, like through college. Like I worked at a Bible camp, a summer camp for 3 summers. I went on a mission trip in college. But the older I got and kind of the more educated I got, and I started to realize that I don't agree with the Catholic Church in almost anything. And I don't know, I really connected with Xiomara in this book because I went through the same thing. And a lot of people go through this. And I no longer consider myself Catholic, definitely not Catholic. I don't really even consider myself a Christian anymore at this point. Everything she says about that in this book, I really, really related to because I think a lot of us go through that. You know, being raised in a Catholic or a Christian household, kind of, you know, somewhat against your will, you know? Anyway, this passage I loved. It's called God. I'm gonna read it because it's short. It's not any one thing that makes me wonder about the capital G-O-D. About a holy trinity that don't include the mother. It's all the things. Just seems as I get older, I begin to really see the way that the church treats a girl like me differently. Sometimes it feels all I'm worth is under my skirt and not between my ears. Sometimes I feel that turning the other cheek could get someone like my brother killed. Sometimes I feel my life would be easier if I didn't feel like such a debt to a God that don't really seem to be out here checking on me. Xiomara's brother in this novel is gay and closeted because obviously super Catholic mother. And so that's tough for Xiomara because she doesn't want him to get hurt. She just wants her brother to be happy and to feel safe. And I think a lot of us, again, growing up in the church, feel that way. It's just wild to me because growing up, the Catholic church that I attended specifically was super anti-gay marriage. And yet the Presbyterian church down the street from the house I live in now has a big old pride flag out front and a sign that says God loves everyone. So like, which is it? Like Christianity can't even agree on what's okay and what's not okay. Obviously gay marriage is good. It's fine. Equality is good. And so to be told by, a male priest who's never been married and has taken a vow of chastity that gay marriage is bad, that's just the kind of things that make me and kids like Xiomara just like question. And that's not a bad thing, you know, to question authority, question your faith, question whatever. Like that's very normal and everyone does it. Basically, this book is about Xiomara. She loves to write poetry. It's kind of like her way of journaling. And she has an English teacher at school who's encouraging her to join like the poetry club and to try to get into slam poetry. And at the same time, Xiomara is developing feelings for this boy in her science class who is very sweet and they have a very innocent relationship. Like they go to the park and like listen to music together. But she's terrified of her Dominican Republic super Catholic mother finding out because her even dating a boy is like not okay. And the book is it's just written very beautifully. It goes through Xiomara kind of like, I don't want to go to confirmation classes, I want to go to poetry club, and her mother being super against it. And it's, you know, it's about a teenager like finding herself, coming into herself, her mother being somewhat abusive in the process, and that was tough to read. But in the end, I mean, the ending is gorgeous. I really, really like reading books in prose. It's a thing I've gotten into in the past year or so, because I read very stereotypical female fiction, and I love that kind of stuff. But last year I read The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta, and I read Red, White, and Whole, and then recently I read In the Dream House, and those are all written in prose or like poetry style. And I really enjoyed every single book like that I've read. So if you're like me and you're looking to kind of expand your reading horizons, like that's one of my New Year's resolutions this year, is to kind of step out of my comfort zone, read more nonfiction, read more poetry. Poet X is a great place to start. Beautifully written, sends I think a strong positive message, which is it's okay to question your faith, and it's okay to want to do things you want to do and not what your parents want you to do, you know? And writing poetry, if my kid were to be like, Mom, I don't want to go to religion classes, I want to go to poetry club, I'd be like, okay, at least you're not doing crack, you know? So anyway, I gave Poet X 4 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 4.5 on Fable, because Fable has quarter stars and half stars. It was gorgeous. I highly recommend it. I loved it. The next book that I read that has been banned, I just finished this last night, and it's called This Book is Gay. I didn't love this one as much, but I'll do a whole different video on this one. But yeah, the next 2 books I'm hoping to read that have been banned in multiple places, Lolita and Fahrenheit 451. And I'm gonna continue on my banned book journey and try to get through as many as I can before our president makes reading illegal. Just kidding, not really. Support your local library, boycott Target, and oh, here's my cat. Will you leave the foster kitty alone? Wait, do you want to see her? Okay, the guest room is a mess because we have a kitty, but where is she? Hi, Mama. Hi, baby girl. Hi, good girl.